Hey, and welcome to Girl Be Free, a podcast designed to help women get unstuck and cultivate the life you want on your terms. I'm Siobhan, your host, and I'm passionate about empowering women to live their best life. Each week, you'll hear pep talks that will inspire and push you to take action so you too can start to be free and live the life you want. You can learn more about me at BeFreeProject.com. Now let's jump into the show. Hey, welcome back. This is the official episode number 1 for the Girl Be Free podcast. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. And today we're going to talk about what does being free mean to me. So I'm going to share my perspective on what it means to be free. And then at the end of the episode, I'm going to challenge you to dig a little deeper and look within. All right, let's get started. So let me say this, number 1, being free has nothing to do with entrepreneurship. I get asked often or enough where, should I be launching a business? Should I go and quit my job and pursue my passions? And being free has nothing to do with entrepreneurship and everything about figuring out what you want to do for your life, how you want to show up for yourself, and then be free to do that. So I would never recommend someone quit their job and go pursue their passions. That is a personal decision. So Be Free Project has nothing to do with entrepreneurship, but it's all about living your best life on your terms. So for me, being free means living the life or living my life how I choose to live it. When I was in my early 20s, I went back to get my master's degree. And I had this idea that I would just follow society standards on what it meant to be successful. So for me, I got multiple degrees, got married, had the kids, got the job, was working up the corporate ladder when I realized that wasn't really what I wanted. I was following this standard because I haven't defined the standard for myself. And I got to this place in my life where I was questioning, what am I doing? Why am I pursuing this? This is not what I really want. And so I had to take a step back and do some self-discovery work and ask myself very specific questions on what being free meant to me and how I wanted to show up in my life. So in my opinion, being free means that you're living life how you choose to live it on your terms, whatever that looks like for you, and you're not allowing other people to define your personal freedom. Number 2 is, for me, being free means that I'm owning my voice. For a long time, I had silenced my voice. When I was younger, some things happened to me that really shifted who I was as a person. And it wasn't until going through therapy that I had to basically get my voice back and start speaking up for myself. And now I'm in this space where my voice needs to be heard. And there's no way that I would allow someone to talk over me, to disrespect me, make me feel a certain kind of way without me standing up for myself. It took a long time to get to that mental space, and I'm still growing today. But being free to me means that I own my voice and I speak my truth that aligns with the vision that I have for my life. Next, being free means being authentic to your true self. I would say back in my 20s, I believe, maybe even early 30s, I was wearing a mask. So you would see the outside and you would think, oh, she has it all together. She has the husband and the kids and the house and the job. And just by looking at me, you would have thought that I was happy. But in actuality, I was not happy. I was wearing this mask covering up the internal junk and stuff that I was dealing with to cover up what I was really feeling. And so now, after going through therapy and doing a lot of inner work, I'm really focused on being authentically myself, no matter what space that I'm in. And it's not easy to do because I'm a very private person and I don't like to share a lot. However, what I understand is that the more that I peel back the layers and do a lot of self-healing, in return, I can share that and help someone else. And that's just by being authentically myself, right? So you're going to hear me take a sip of water. When I'm recording these podcasts, I definitely have to keep my throat like lubricated. So you're going to hear me drink water or hot tea or coffee or something like that. So that's why you're going to hear the pause. Next, being free means that you say yes to you without feeling guilty. So this is something that I really started focusing on back when my children were little. When I became a mother, I lost a part of myself. I lost my identity, and my world became my children and my husband going to work every day. Like that was my life, and I lost myself. And when I got laid off from actually prior to me getting laid off from my job, and I got into therapy and I was journaling a lot and reading a lot, I said, well, what do I want? Like, what do I want for my life? How am I going to show up for myself? And I understood that it was not a bad thing, or I wasn't being selfish when I decided to say yes to myself. I could do that without feeling guilty, without feeling like I was neglecting someone else. So now my mental space is I always choose me first. I say yes to myself before I say yes to someone else. Because otherwise, what will happen is if you give and give and give so much to yourself, you lose a part of yourself and you end up feeling stuck and unfulfilled because you've given so much of yourself that you haven't poured into yourself. So being free to me means that you're saying yes to yourself without feeling guilty. It also means that you're letting go of mental and emotional baggage. For 17 years, I carried a lot of emotional and mental mess. My mom made some choices when I was younger that really affected me in a negative way, and it caused me to feel stuck. I walked in fear. I was very negative sometimes. I know that's probably hard to believe based on what you see today, but I was in a negative headspace. I blamed everyone, or her more specifically, and I made excuses. And in doing that, I was carrying around so much baggage that in order for me to be free, I had to let it go. And truth be told, it is a process that I'm still working on to this very day. But the beauty in it is that I am mindful and I understand what's happening. And when I notice myself getting into a funk, I know how to self heal. Next, being free means that you're walking in your purpose. I am very clear that my purpose is to be a light and empower others to be free. That is my calling. That is my makeup. That is the reason that I'm here. That is something that I don't even have to try to do. It just is. And so, because of that, being free means that I am walking in my purpose. I'm doing what I've been called to do. And I have peace of mind knowing that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be in this given moment. And I have clarity now about my life because, again, I know why I'm here. So that is freedom to me. Also, discovering what makes you happy is freedom. So I have a challenge on my website called the Free Your Mind Challenge. And I remember a young lady sent me an email because the very first prompt says, list 20 things that make you happy. And she emailed and she said, you know what? I can't think of one thing. And so I responded back and I said, it doesn't have to be these big, huge things that make you happy. It could be something so simple, so small. So, for example, I love to read. Reading makes me happy. Having conversations with my besties make me happy. Traveling, spending time with my kids and my husband. Coffee. I love coffee and that makes me very happy. So there's certain things that I am aware of that I genuinely enjoy so that whenever I need to feel inspired or encouraged or just be happy, I can go into, let's just say, my happy list toolbox and start to do the things that I enjoy. Listening to music, love, love, love music. And so those are some of the things that I enjoy. And I know that if I start to engage with some of those things, I'll instantly be in positive spirits. And then lastly, being free means that you say no. What do I mean by that? So often we're saying yes to everybody but ourselves. You can say no. That can be a complete sentence, and you don't owe anyone an explanation. You have a right to say no. Let that sit with you for a moment. You do not have to say yes to every little thing. I read in a book once, I can't remember what it was, but if your first response to something, like if somebody asks you to do something or an opportunity comes your way, if your first response isn't heck yeah, then maybe you need to question, is this something that you really want to do? So I look at that and I use that. So when I'm asked to do certain things, if my initial response isn't heck yeah, then I end up doing it anyway, I cannot be upset, if I do this thing and I end up like, oh, why did I do that? I should always go with my first instinct or my gut feeling. So the same thing for you. You don't owe anyone a yes. You can say no if you don't want to do anything, and no is a complete sentence. So those are just some things that come off the top of my head as it relates to what being free means to me. It also means walking in your gifts and doing what you love and doing work that you're passionate about. That's freedom. Because when you get a chance to do what you love, you just have such a peace about you. So that's something that I wanted to share. As I said in the introduction podcast, I'm going to challenge you each week with either an action step, a journal prompt, or I'm going to give you an affirmation. This week, you are getting an action step. I want you to spend some time with yourself, give yourself about 10 minutes, and I want you to define, what does being free mean to you? Okay? And then I want you to share your response in the Facebook group, which I'll put a link in the show notes, or feel free to send me an email and let me know at hello@befreeproject.com. Well, that is all that I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, girl, be free. Thank you so much for listening. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling really fancy, go ahead and leave a review. Until next time, be free and live.